And in their velvet prime, deeply they'll swallow till you're fine as kegs, then quickly be gone, leaving bitter dregs. Ah, bitter dregs. Your time, oh precious, for youth is your gold. Your beauty like silk rope of tarnish, well, almost forgot the lyrics, shall comfort you not. When the flow of your sweetness is gone and forgot, ah, gone and forgot, with smiling words and tender touch, man offers little and asks for so much. You love in the breathless excitement of night, then he'll leave with your treasure in cold morning light, ah, cold morning light.
Let's go ahead and dive right into some questions as you guys are ready. Hi there.
Okay.
My name's Mick. I've got a question. When you first found out that your character was being rebooted, how did you feel? And then when you found out that you were going to play alongside your character, how did you feel?
Well, I was very flattered that they called me. J.J. Abrams and his people called me to say that they were going to make a new Star Trek film and they wanted me in it. And I was available and I was interested and I had a good time doing it. I think they hired a wonderful actor, Zachary Quinto, to do the Spock character. Very well trained, talented guy, and I like him. We've become friends. So I'm very happy about the whole thing. Look, if Star Trek continues to flourish and opens up to a new audience, nothing wrong with that. I think it's great.
All right, thank you. Well said. Thank you.
I was just wondering, out of all the episodes and movies that you've done so far, which was your favorite to shoot?
Oh, wow, that's always a great question. There are several episodes that always come to mind when people ask me about the favorites. One of them would have to be A Mock Time, which was a story where Spock was supposed to get married. We went to the Vulcan planet, and because Spock had been betrothed to a Vulcan lady as a child, and now it's time to do the marriage ceremony. We go there, and we're met by these Vulcan people who were seeing Vulcans for the very first time. The only Vulcan we'd seen up to that point was Spock. So it was an important episode for the Spock character, and the words "live long and prosper" were spoken for the first time in that episode. And I introduced the Vulcan hand gesture in that episode for the first time. On a sad note, Arlene Martell, who was supposed to be Spock's bride, just passed away about a week ago. The actress just passed away about a week ago. But it was a beautifully written episode, and I really look forward to it and enjoy shooting it. Sitting on the Edge of Forever, great episode. The Menagerie, written by Gene Roberts. Both sides of his personality, the emotional and the logical side, were interesting episodes for me. Those are some of the ones that come to mind.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nimoy.
You're welcome.
Hello. On Twitter, you very generously offered to be an honorary grandfather to all of us.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, what advice would you give to a young 20-something still trying to figure out their place in life? Tough question, huh?
Wow. You spring me back to when I was 20. Wow. I was very lucky. By the time I was about 18 years old, I had decided pretty firmly that I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be an actor. And I left home. I was living in Boston. I got on a train and went to California to study acting in California, and I stayed and stayed and stayed until finally I was able to build a career. Choosing what you want to do in your life obviously is difficult, it's complicated, it's terribly important to have a passion or whatever it is you discover that you really care deeply about it. It's important that you care deeply about it, so that because there's going to be tough times in any career, and if you care deeply about what you're doing and love what you're doing and love the projects that you're involved in, it can help you get through some tough times. So I guess the advice comes down to find out what your passion is, find out what really moves you, what touches you deeply, and try to make that your life's work. I hope that's helpful.
Yes, thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Ed.
Hi.
So, throughout the series, Spock is at some
Having a little trouble hearing you. Can you get the mic up closer?
Yeah, sorry. Throughout the series and the movies, Spock's had some pretty hilarious lines, usually at the expense of his Vulcan-ness. So, what was your favorite kind of comedic line from either the series or the movies?
Yeah, I think I would have to go back to an episode of, maybe it was in the Devil in the Dark, which was a very good episode, I thought, where we encountered the Horta creature. And I think it was at the end of the episode, where we're on the bridge talking about...
I think you may have accidentally covered up your mic, Mr. Nimoy.
Oh, okay, I don't want to do that.
Not too bad, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think it was Devil in the Dark. We're on the bridge of the Enterprise. We're wrapping up the episode. And I believe that it was in that episode where Kirk says to Spock, there's hope for you. You're becoming more human all the time. And as Spock, I said, Captain, I see no reason to stand here and be insulted.
Thank you.
Given your religious background, can you discuss a little bit the Star Trek III's resurrection of Spock and how that felt as an actor, as a director, and kind of all-encompassing? Was there any thought, or did you have any thoughts or feelings dealing with that?
No, I didn't see it as a religious experience. Resurrection does have a religious connotation. The word has a religious connotation, which I understand. But I didn't see it as a religious experience as much as a scientific experience. The Genesis planet was in the process of evolving very, very quickly. And the concept was that Spock's DNA took hold and was growing and aging along with the planet. So, look, I was very happy to be resurrected. When we finished making Star Trek II, which was a very good movie, and Spock had died, I thought when we first started doing it that was going to be the end of the Spock character, and I was finished with Star Trek. Fortunately, the producers and the director, Nicholas Meyer, made a decision to tack on an ending at the end of Star Trek II, which made it possible that Spock might come back. And we did it, and I directed Star Trek III, which was my first movie directing experience, which was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing it. So I was grateful to be resurrected. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Nimoy. My name's Christina. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hi.
My question is, just one of your favorite moments working on the set of Star Trek, the original series. Any pranks, anything?
What was one of my favorite moments?
Or any pranks that may have taken place on set of the original series.
Oh, yeah. Well, this, DeForest Kelly, who I miss very much, he was really a dear friend and a wonderful, wonderful man. He had a habit of coming into work every morning and going to what we call the craft service table, which was a table that was filled with all kinds of foods, breakfast foods, and bread and toast and fruits and so forth. And he would get himself a muffin and drop it into the toaster every morning. And when the muffin popped, he would take it out and spread butter on it, and he would have that muffin with his coffee. So Shatner saw him doing this and decided that he was going to have some fun with Dee Kelly. And one morning when Dee dropped his muffin into the toaster, Shatner had somebody distract him, so he took him and Shatner popped the toaster, took the muffin out and ate it. Kelly comes back to the toaster, and he's looking at me, scratching his head. I thought I put a muffin in there. And he said, well, maybe I thought I did and didn't actually do it, so he did it again. He put a muffin in the toaster, pressed the button up, Shatner did it again, and somebody distracted Dee. And Shatner ate the muffin. So Dee got very upset when he realized what was happening. He was very upset that he missed it.
Oh, wait, I think we may have lost you again. Sorry to interrupt, but I think we might be covering the mic again.
So, he got very upset. Did you hear me say that?
Yes.
Yeah, so he got very upset when he discovered who it was that was eating the muffin. And playing with Frank, I said, gee, I wouldn't worry about it, because if anybody stands to you and Mr. Shatner side by side, it's easy to see who's eating the muffin.
Hi, Mr. Nimoy. My name's Kate. I actually have a question about some of your photography that you did. This is a collection, a full body collection. I just was wondering why you decided to go outside of the norm and do full-size bodies as opposed to conventional sizes, and if you knew that, what a big work set was and decided to take it anyways.
Well, you don't see much of that kind of work, do you?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yes. Sorry.
A lady came to me after I was showing some other work, and she said to me, I'm a model and I'm a different body type than what you've been shooting. I wonder if you'd be interested in working with me. And my wife encouraged me to do it. I really wasn't quite sure what it was all about, but I did some photographs of her. She was quite large, and when we showed the work, she got a lot of attention because you just don't see that kind of stuff of human figure. And I just became intrigued with the idea that there are so many people walking around in bodies that we don't see photographed as though they're supposed to be hidden or something. These are human beings, and many of them are very happy people and even healthy people. And I just decided it was an interesting project. So I rounded up a group of women in San Francisco who were burlesque performers, and they called themselves the Fat Bottom Review, as a matter of fact. And they were wonderful people, wonderful people. I started working with them and photographed them. Thank you for the question. It was an interesting project for me. There was a book published of my photographs called The Full Body Project. You might want to look it up. Interesting. And by the way, all of my photography work is available at a website, LeonardNimoyPhotography.com. That shouldn't be too difficult to remember. LeonardNimoyPhotography.com. You can see all these photographs there. Thank you for the question.
Easy enough address to remember. Now a question from that girl in the audience.
Hi, I'm Jean. Aside from playing the part of Spock, what was your favorite character you've ever played?
Boy, I've played so many characters. As a matter of fact, I played Chicago when I was on tour with a production of Sherlock Holmes. I enjoyed playing that a lot. I played the Schubert Theater in Chicago with that. I also played in Chicago with my one-man show about Vincent van Gogh, a play that I wrote called Vincent, which I did at the Art Institute in Chicago, among other places. I did about 150 performances of it. I've had a lot of wonderful fun with a lot of different. I played Milwaukee as Fagin in Oliver. I had a wonderful time. Wonderful time. It was great fun. I played Tempe and Fiddler on the Roof in a tour of eastern cities. I played a portrait of a man named Mal Mermelstein in a television movie called Never Forget, which was a very special experience for me. A man who fought a group of people who were Holocaust deniers. I've had a great time with doing a lot of wonderful characters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, Kevin speaking. I was sort of wondering, how did you get involved with Bruno Mars?
With the lazy song, yeah. Well, it just so happens that Aaron Bay Shuck, who is my stepson, my wife's son, is a record producer. He's been working for Atlantic Records and just moved over to become president of worldwide A&R for Interscope Records. And he was the person who brought Bruno Mars to the Atlantic label. He produced Bruno Mars's albums and was his finder and mentor at Atlantic Records. So when Bruno had this idea to do the Lazy Song as a music video, he asked Aaron to ask me if I would do it, and I did it. It was a fun time doing it. We spent about 3 days together shooting that thing. Bruno was in it for a moment, but it was really fun to do it. It was a fun song, and it gave me a chance to step out of character and do some crazy stuff. It was good. The Lazy Song, yeah.
Hi, Mike. I was wondering what the biggest challenge you faced as a photographer was.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. There's a very interesting psychological process that takes place between a photographer and a subject when you're shooting models. And I didn't want to do portrait photography because I was always looking for secret moments, private moments, with models that I worked with. So I guess my biggest challenge was finding some way to find the secret of the model, to find out what this model was thinking about, or what about his or her life that I might be able to capture that wasn't spoken about specifically. So that was always an interesting challenge for me, to try to find out the truth of this particular model that would arrive to be photographed on a given day. A complex question, and that's a kind of slim answer, but that's the best I can do with a short answer. I'd have to spend a couple of hours talking about it if we really want to get into the subject, because it's a pretty complex subject and a very interesting question. Thank you.
And good answer. Come on down.
Hello, sir. I'm Ron, and my question for you is, when you directed, what was the most difficult scene that you had to direct?
Directing Star Trek was a joy for me, but difficult when there were scenes where I had to be in the scene as Spock. And I think one of those difficult moments I had was in Star Trek 3, when I was directing a scene where Spock is supposed to be unconscious, and D. Kelly as Dr. McCoy is standing over Spock and talking to the unconscious Spock. And so we're filming the scene, I'm laying there with my eyes closed, and as a director, I can't see what D. Kelly is doing or what he looks like. So I had to resist the temptation to open my eyes and sneak a peek at what he was doing. And Dee insisted that he could see with the fluttering of my eyelids that I was directing him, even with my eyes closed.
All right, then. Directing yourself unconscious. There you go.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Margaret. This is another question about directing. Was it very different from acting, or was it a lot more similar to acting than you expected? Was it what you expected, or was it quite different?
I never intended, I never set out to be a director. As a matter of fact, for many years during my acting career, people would occasionally say to me, you should be a director, you should be directing. And I was a little offended because I thought, why, is there something wrong with my acting? Why are you telling me to be a director? But when the opportunity came along, I welcomed it because I thought it was time. I knew enough about film and film work to be able to take it on. I enjoyed it a lot, but as I mentioned, I was performing as Spock, and in a scene where I had to direct, it was to do both. The other issue was the work schedule, because my makeup would take 2 hours in the morning, and if I was due to come to work as a director at 7 in the morning, I'd have to get there at 5 o'clock in the morning to start getting the makeup on, and sit in the chair for 2 hours, and then go to work as the director at 7 o'clock. So it was complicated. But finally, I was very, very happy with the result. Star Trek 3 and 4 I'm very proud of, particularly Star Trek 4, the story of the humpback whales. I wish somebody would now do a movie about the plight of the elephants. There's elephants being decimated because of the people are poaching them for their ivory tusks, which are valuable. It's tragic what's happening to the elephants on this planet of ours. I wish somebody would make a movie about the plight of the elephants. Anyway, that's the answer to your question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel. So this question is sort of about the new Star Trek movie, Into Darkness, and how did you feel the death scene of Spock in Star Trek 2 was just so iconic and so beautiful. How did you feel about the role reversal that Kirk and Spock have, where Kirk is the one sacrificing himself in the new movie?
Yeah, it was an interesting sort of inversion of what we had done originally, wasn't it? I think, as I said before, I think these films are exciting. They're reaching a very broad audience. I think the characters, in general, are being very well portrayed by Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and Carl Urban and all of them, John Cho, and they're all wonderful people, good actors. I hope I'm not neglecting this. I don't mean to leave anybody out. They're all wonderful, and I'm very pleased that Star Trek has survived the way it has. You know, as I said before, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary. In 2016, 2 years from now, we will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the debut of Star Trek. Right now, 50 years ago, right now, we were preparing to begin shooting the first Star Trek pilot, which was in production in November. So in November of this year, just a couple of months from now, we will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the first filming of a Star Trek episode. That was so it's almost 50 years ago. I'm amazed, delighted, and proud that we have been able to last so long. When we were making the show, I thought it could have a long life because it was about the future, so it wouldn't become dated very quickly. But to think that it would last 50 years and we would still be around talking about it and still making Star Trek product, nobody could have predicted that. I'm extremely proud of that and grateful that it's all come together the way it has. Thank you.
Your accomplishments from acting, directing, I still have your record album from the 70s. Do you count what we count the most, the joy and the happiness that you've brought to people's life? Do you realize what impact you have made on people?
Wow. I thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. It means so much to me that we have had such a positive impact on so many people. So often I hear from people that we had a positive impact on their lives. In many cases, their choice of careers. In my case, very often I'll hear from engineers and scientists that tell me that they were encouraged to go into the sciences because of Spock and Star Trek, and that's a wonderful thing because we sure do need scientists in this technological age. We need the brain power of all the young people that we gather. It's a blessing to me. I feel blessed that we have been able to reach so many people in such a positive way. Thank you.
Live long and prosper.
And the same to you. Thank you so much.
With Spock being such an influential role throughout your entire career, are there days where you just go up to do something and it's just like, man, what would Spock do?
I think my wife would tell you that I'm very often in a Spock mode. Frustrating because I can't get in touch with the emotional essence of a moment in our lives. I'm doing Spock, and she won't say so, but I think she's thinking, I wish she'd get out of that. give me a honest emotional reaction, please.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi, my sister is getting into photography. She recently started. So as a photographer, what kind of advice would you have for her?
Well, study, and shoot. Learn and study, and look up the work of great photographers. It's so available now. You go to Google or any one of the search engines and look up the great photographers. Learn from them, study, read about them, read their stories, read what photographers write about what they shoot, why they shoot, and most important for me was to find thematic ideas. Why am I shooting pictures? What do I want to shoot pictures of? And when I discovered what my thematic ideas might be, then I began to get really excited about what I was shooting. So the major elements of the 4 or 5 projects that I've done in the last 20 or 25 years have been those projects where I had a thematic idea and went out to shoot an essay on that subject. That's what led me to do what was worth doing and important to invest time and energy to do.
Thank you. We only have time for 2 final questions, so I'm going to hand it to this gentleman.
Okay.
Greetings, Mr. Nimoy. I read a trivial fact about you online that I wanted to see if you could validate. Is it true that you are a fluent speaker of Hebrew? And if so, why and by what means did you acquire the language?
No, I'm not a fluent speaker of Hebrew, but I do speak a language called Yiddish, which is the contemporary language of the Jews. The Hebrew is a biblical language and is spoken widely in Israel today. But I do not speak Hebrew. I can read it, and I know a few Hebrew words, but I don't know the language. Yiddish I'm fluent in because my parents and my grandparents spoke Yiddish before they learned to speak English. They were immigrants from Ukraine, as a matter of fact. And we lived in an apartment, 3 generations, my grandparents, my parents, and my brother and I, in one apartment. We lived together, and my grandparents never did learn to speak English. And in order to communicate with them, my brother and I had to learn to speak Yiddish. So I do speak that language, but not Hebrew. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And final question.
Over the years, you played villains and heroes, and I was just curious, what was your favorite to play, a villain or a hero?
I had a great time playing a villain on Columbo with Peter Falk, who was a wonderful actor. We had a good time together. I enjoyed that very much. I also played a villain in a movie called Catla with Yul Brynner, a Western. It was filmed in Spain. I did my share of villains, many of them before Star Trek and some after Star Trek. But I think maybe the Columbo with Peter Falk was one of my favorites.
All right then. Well, Chicago, please show your love.
I was hoping you didn't know it was still on.